Hey friends, today I'm going to show you how you can upgrade your boring Notion workspaces into a fully immersive experience in your favorite fantasy world. And this is the real way you should be using Notion in 2020, and you've never seen a setup like this before. So if you've been following me as either a subscriber of this channel or part of our CoX3 family, you'd know that I'm endlessly passionate about finding innovative ways to tackle everyday challenges. Last November, I started the gamification project to tackle one huge need. How can we create an endlessly customizable system that hacks our brain to do meaningful, productive work and make work fun? Today, we are taking that one big step further. This weekend, our community released a huge update dubbed CoX3 Adventures that launched new features that spur us to be highly motivated to personally develop ourselves, develop accountability, and collaborate to bring positive social impacts to our local and global communities. And with that update came theming capabilities. This has been a hot topic in and out of our community. So today, I'll be walking you through my own fantasy workspace based on one of my favorite online RPGs, showcasing you a CoX3 community member's amazing immersive setup where he is living life while slaying dragons, and building a Pokemon theme step by step with a template link to get you started. Before we get into it, I also want to share I'll be starting a video series where we will review interesting themes submitted by the community. We already have some members working on Animal Crossing, Super Mario Bros, Stardew Valley, Star Wars, and also collabing with other Notion YouTubers to help them build out their fantasy workspaces. If you have any ideas on who we should collab with next, let me know in the comment section below. Today, we're going to be building on top of our community super package templates, which boast a very comprehensive framework to organize and structure all the things you do in your life, and essentially build a second brain in Notion. If you have been missing out on that, check out that video after you're done watching this one. Generally speaking, there are two main ways to develop an immersive experience, and they're not mutually exclusive. So the first way is creating your own views of your database tables to make them more meaningful to you, presented in the fashion of your favorite game. The great thing about this method is that you can change views every day, week, or month, anytime really, depending on your mood. So one day you can decide to be adventuring in your favorite RPG, the next day in your favorite action-packed shooter, and maybe another day you want to live as your favorite comic book figure, or at the end of the day, you just want to be a Pokemon trainer and catch them all. It's all up to you. The second way is actually renaming all your pages, tasks, etc. with language from your favorite fantasy world. So you really imagine yourself playing the game when in fact the things you're doing are present in real life. In the second part of this video, we'll showcase a community member who did just that and is living life while slaying dragons and living in the old kingdom. Let's dive right in. To really achieve an immersive experience, I chose to build out a fantasy world from one of my favorite games from my childhood. And I realized that I would have to create two dashboards to achieve the outcome I wanted. One from the perspective of someone playing the game, and one from the perspective of someone creating the quest. Let's talk about the player view first. Since immersion is the main focus, I wanted to make my dashboard look and feel a lot like the game I played. Games generally give you a HUD, a heads-up display, from which you interact with the virtual world. You can think about it like your portal to a new dimension. The top section is generally where you have your peripherals, where you have certain information that helps you orientate within the virtual world. Things like a world map, for example. So for me, I visualize that as my daily schedules. So when do I wake up? When do I sleep? The daily routines I'm going to go through in the morning, afternoon, and evenings. You'll also see things like party members, and in my case, they are fictitious companions that join my party to give me certain buffs throughout the week to get me through hard tasks and maintain habits I find tough to stick to. You also see things like the system events that are ongoing, which are the game's way of making you stay focused on some central theme. And for us, we have our CoX3 community events, which help us stay motivated, productive, and accountable on achieving weekly and monthly wins. The middle section for me represents the contents of the game. It includes the daily activities that progress me further along my growth journey. You'll see items here like my daily quests, which are basically my daily habits, and if I open them up, you'll see examples like meditating, language practice, personal development, and more. I add an additional element of gamification here by treating them as scarce. I have a limited number of days in my life and a limited number of hours within those days to work on my habits. So every moment that I can practice them is a limited time opportunity to get ahead of all the other players in the world. You'll also see here the quests I'm actively working on or marked in progress, and also the content, which I call letters here, that I need to write. I also want to drop a concept here of going to inbox 0, which Superhuman has brought to email. Making sure that there are no outstanding emails at the end of the day is truly a joyful moment. And the same concept is enforced here, where you're motivated to achieve 100% completion of all ongoing items in your life. I also have something really cool here called the mission board. I kind of conceptualize it as, well, if I finished all my quests for the day and I don't want to do my dailies yet, or maybe I've already done my dailies, what are some more quests that I can do to progress my storyline? Expanding that, I can see quests that are ready to start, so items with well-defined parameters, and I can easily drag them into my workspace, so it's almost like finding new quests to do within my virtual world. And here, you can also do the same for your letters or your content you're writing. So basically, the beauty of having these different views is being able to drag them from one view to another of the same database, but changing the status of it from ready to start to in progress when you want to work on it. Another cool thing here is repairing your equipment. In many games, your equipment will go bad if you don't take care of it. And if you try to progress in your adventure with faulty gear, it takes a long time to accomplish the results that may have taken you a fraction of the time with a well-sharpened sword. In real life, we are our equipment. If we don't maintain ourselves, we might get lost in the weeds and not perform as effectively, or worse, do things that are detrimental to ourselves. So here I store my weekly quests, routines that I need to do periodically within the week for upkeep of my health, my home, etc. Each of my areas, masters, and trackers have a counter, so if I don't modify it within a week, a month, a quarter, semester, year, whatever I define, it will alert me that I need to review it. So I make sure that I'm up to date on all the areas in my life that I care about. The next section is the chat window. Every multiplayer game has a way to chat with their other players. I visualize this as my network, or the people I need to stay in touch with. I can filter by people who are my support network, mentors and mentees, friendships I'm nurturing, or even whose birthdays are coming up. If I open up each item, I can see their full bio, what we've talked about recently, and even their contact information, so if I want to send them a cake or something, since I can't visit them during COVID-19, I can. Alright, so the menu is super unique and personal to you. For me, the menu is derived from elements found in the game I like. There's a free market, there's a dojo, teleport rock, etc. that I place my own meaning of what they would mean in my life. So quickly going through, the library would mean the things I'm reading every day. My inventory would include things like my use, which are the things I'm going to eat, right? My meals. The free market would include everything I'm buying that I need to buy, like my groceries, my shopping lists, and things I might be wanting to sell. Basically anything to do with trade in my life, anything I need to trade in or trade out. The dojo would be where I put all my exercise routines, so my physiotherapy workouts, or even the CoX3 home workout program, which one of our community members lovingly put together for all of us to stay fit during quarantine. I also have my achievements, where I store the badges that I've earned for successfully keeping up a streak or achieving a certain number of goals in my life or key results, and also everything I've accomplished in my success plan, so all my goals, key results, projects, and tasks that I've accomplished within the last week. And finally, the teleport rock for me is just a place for me to store all my travel plans, so essentially teleporting to different areas of the world. I also have a unique section here called Megaphone, which is quite unique to my use case because I'm a content creator, but essentially is all the things that I've already created that's ready to distribute and all the different channels that I can distribute them on whenever I see the opportunity to share about a specific content piece. And finally, the bottom section is everything about your character. So the areas of competence that you're building up, or you can think of them like traits in a game, strength, luck, dexterity, mobility. And I have a unique use of this where I can show everything that I'm doing to build each area up. So like the relevant goals, the relevant best practices to upkeep that area and maintain excellence in it. Trackers, so pages I'm using to keep track of progress within each area. Again, I have a full video about this concept. I'll leave a link down in the description and also up here for you to see. And of course, at the bottom, you can see my stats, where I keep track of my level, how much experience points I need to level up, and also my goal balance of all the gold that I've earned from doing my quests throughout the day. This helps me feel that I'm making progress throughout my day and stay motivated to continue tackling more and more quests so I can achieve my big and huge wins. Now, let's talk about the guy creating the quests, which I like to call the guild master or the game master. I basically look at this page once a week to plan out my success plan and then throughout the week to adjust where necessary. I go through and make sure my goals are ambitious, my key results are smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, and that I'm setting no more than 6 projects active at a time. I've determined through extensive testing that I am not effective if I have to handle more than that per week, and then finally cleaning up my backlog tasks and preparing them to be ready to start. So now that you've seen one kind of setup, let's show you another. This is from a Coach 3 member who really enjoys Skyrim, so he designed his whole setup to be set in the world of the Old Kingdom, and named all his elements to language suiting the fantasy world, so he's deeply immersed into his setup as if he was playing the game. Enjoy!
This is my Notion page, this is my landing page, my HUD if you would call it. So my theme is Elder Scrolls Online, so I've chosen Tamriel as my overall homepage with the intro just getting my mind into the sense of Skyrim and the whole realm. Working our way down, I just have how to use and then explaining my ideas behind fast travel and then the settings in here specific. So under settings, I have master routes, which is the gamification tags, which I've just changed to suit more of my lore and wording. So I've changed the icons to suit my theme. And going back, my hero leaderboard is the same. I've just added a cover page and icon to suit my needs. And then you can see my 3 heroes. So down here, I have myself, which is Dover King, my sister, and then just the master hero. So I can duplicate and add more players if I want to in the future. Then down here specifics, I've got everything relating to myself and then to my sister. So core beliefs is the same as the areas, which I've identified as 9 key aspects. My quest line is the same as the success plan. So going from a goal to a key result to project to task. My daily quest is the same. So just my streaks, what I do in the day. My daily concerns is a work in progress, but it's regarded as the 3 things I need to tackle during the day.
That's actually really cool. So why would you separate it into a separate database? Like, what was the reason?
So the daily concerns are the overall 3, I would say, annoyances or irritations that kept me up the night before that I know I need to get done. And the sooner I get it done in the day, the more weight I'll lift off my shoulders.
So these are the things that keep you up at night. Literally.
Yeah, basically.
I got it. Very cool.
And then weekly quest is just maintenance in a sense. So if I've done my vitamins, written the newspaper letters, washed my hair, done meal prep for the week. Achievements is the same as badges in a sense. I've just phrased it where reflection expert's the same, but sword master is taken from exercising. So that's my take on the. So my vision is basically the key viewpoints. So for me, it's quest book, hero stats, and journal. So the quest book, in a sense, is the on deck which you had. So it's just the goals, key results, everything stays the same. Same with hero stats. It's just my daily quests and weekly quests, finance tracking, and then my journal, which I mostly leave open all the time, has all the link databases. So it's my hero leaderboard, the companions I have, and then recent wins, just the wins I've accomplished, what I've failed this week, what I'm grateful for, and then my accomplishments, which is my achievements. And then just the world map, and then my encampment. So I have gifts, which is basically just the item shop where I can spend my gold. My exercise is combat training. My letters is the content to digest. And then I have my bucket list and then stuff I want to work on. So for me, it's photography, and then under transcripts, I have Dutch, which is one of the languages I want to learn. So I just have all the vocab I've picked up. Ravens is just the personal CRM and world map. And then I'm working on having a HUD like yours. Just tweaking it. So just slowly working it in.
So as I mentioned earlier, the beauty of implementing a HUD into your setup is the opportunity to create and use different views depending on which fantasy world you feel like immersing yourself in every day, with no disruption to your workflow, because all the views are accessing the same database tables. To help you facilitate this, I'm going to show you how I built a Pokemon theme step by step from a Coix3 community Build With Me live stream, and I recommend you pause the video now and get your Notion workspace ready to follow along. By the way, if you're enjoying so far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also comment down below which fantasy world you are going to immerse yourself into.
Let's call this one the trainer. Okay, and then let's call another one the gym leader. Okay, let's do the trainer first because I have a lot more inspiration for that one. So the first things first is I'm going to try and grab some images. I want to get a Pokeball, let's say, as my icon. So wonderful. So I'm just going to, so how I do this is I just right click, I copy image address, and then, and I'm sure this is similar for up here too, but I just like go here and I link, I submit. How many sections do I want? Well, I probably want like a trainer card section, which is gonna house like my stats, right? And that's usually at the bottom. I definitely need like a game window, which is gonna house like the Pokemon I'm sending out. And then there's like a battle move set, right? That I'm gonna have on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, on the right side, I'm going to have something like, you know, the menu, right? You can go to the bag and stuff like that. So again, it's quite similar. All the game windows are going to be pretty similar, actually.
Yeah.
Like I have a menu there, and then I have like Pokemon I'm sending out, their battle move set. And then I might have like another section up here. Like what would be at the top, like a map as well, a Pokédex, right? A Pokédex will be nice. And then, do they call it party as well? I don't remember right now. Like,
Yeah, I think it's called party.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. So map, maybe we have like the Pokédex is the one, oh, Pokénav, that's what they call it. The Pokénav, right, is the one that tells you about like the world events. And then you have your party. Yeah. So already we have like that section. So you see, I'm just architecting like what I think might be interesting. So again, these are just sections. So I just drag them over, and now everyone can have them. Maybe instead of aiming, gotta catch them all, right?
Yeah.
catch them all. Another hack to show you guys. Basically, you can adjust these instead of adjusting the words, so you make sure that it's always centered no matter what, even if you're using other browsers or even mobile. So now everything's centered. So there's two parties actually. This is the PC box actually. This is the PC box, and then this is the party. Because if I think about like the Pokemon I'm setting out as the Pokemon that I'm working on right now, as in like the quest I'm doing, the party is actually going to be the guys I'm going to pull out. So like the backlog of tasks, right? If I call them that, a backlog of tasks, etc. And then the Pokemon I'm sending out kind of lives here. I have my trainer card that lives here. I have my badges, right? I definitely want to show my badges, right? My trainer badges, right? Pokemon Center.
Oh yeah.
Pokemon Center, right? Pokemon Center will be right here, you know? Cool. There's one game that they had where it was like annoying call feature. Yeah, so we'll start there. I mean, this is already a good start, right? So I'm gonna see my dashboard. So I have a weekday schedule, a weekend schedule, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go to my trainer, or let's call it a list. A list is better. Make it a list. We call this a map. We're gonna call this weekday. We're gonna call this weekend. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go back to core views or the dashboard. I'm gonna highlight both of these. That. I'm gonna Control D, which duplicates everything. And now I have two of the same views. And remember, I duplicated the views, which means that I didn't make a new database. I'm just making a new version of the view we already have. And then now I can move this over to the trainer table, the trainer page, because trainer is easier to find. And now that I have them both in trainer, I can now drag this individually into weekday. I can drag this individually into weekend. Good, so I already got that done. Maybe, and just maybe, so I'm dragging it up here, and because I already made the section, I can just plant it right under there, right? So I'll delete that. What happens is I can now spread it out. And finally, I have my PC box, which is just my party. And this one I already have a version of, which is found inside the gamification project. So I open that up. Yeah, so I have a party members thing here, right? So because I haven't made a view for it before, I actually have to make it now. So I'm going to go into my trainer. I'm going to, right under here, paste it, create a linked database. It's up to you how you want to make it look and feel. I'm going to expand this for a sec just to do what I need to do. But for me, I think a table view is the best just because it's easier to see everything else. All I really care about right now is the perks I get. So I get a 0.01 EXP freebie. Wonderful. And then I'm going to just again make sure that that's all shrunk up. And again, it's up to you if you want to like add additional images or things on top and on the sides. Just like if I wanted to call this like PokeNav, like actually let me just do that for fun, right? So PokeNav, and then I'm gonna call this PC box, and then I'm gonna call this Kanto region. And let's say I make them all, three of them into heading 2, so it's not huge, but it's still big enough. And let's say I make these into green, so that they represent something on the top level bar. And I can drag this up. We have PokeNav, we have PC box. Right, at this level I already have something, so I'm pretty confident to say like I probably will have like 1 picture, 2 picture, I will have a 3rd picture here, and 4th, and then a 5th. So I need 5 sections. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to find that image, right click, Save image as Pokemon Stadium. So this step is like the easiest step in my opinion. I'm literally like just cutting it into like sections. So basically what happens here is the first thing is adding a cover. We'll change the cover, upload image. Again, let's rename this quickly. 1. And then now we have 2, which goes in here. Or actually this should go below this, I believe. Yeah. And this can drag out. So now I have that, now it's full screen. And then I can now leave some space. I'm gonna want this. Pokemon Center is gonna be really interesting. I was thinking about having like an actual Pokemon Center. Yeah, so this is my stage, right? I have that annoying call feature. And then these are like where I put my backlog task. So this is like a toggle list. Like, so again, like you can use things that resonate with you, right? And so like if it reminds you to call your friends once in a while by putting that annoying Pokemon picture there, then sure, right? That helps you. So that's the idea. I'm looking for a success plan, which is in my on deck. I'm looking for my quest list specifically. So I want this one. So again, because these are already views, I just need to duplicate it. And then I can already just move to, and then like all my work is already done. So trainer now already has it right here. I don't need to do anything, any manipulation. And then again, I'm just gonna keep my same look and feel as the other one. You guys can do something totally different if you want to. Yeah, so again, I duplicate this. And then I'm gonna just move to trainer. And then again, I have now my daily quest, which I can move up into this section. Yeah, so if I want to now, I can actually say like, so these are kind of symbolic of the Pokemon I'm setting out. It's a symbolic of daily encounters, yeah. Daily encounters, right? You might call this like your Pokemon in battle. And perhaps you might even want to make these like yellow or red, something that indicates like it's things you gotta do, right? So you would open up your party to get help, right? So how do you get help? Quests that you haven't done yet. So quests that are less filtered. So maybe this filter would be is ready to start. Maybe this status is, you know, in progress only. Yeah. Which has nothing. So let's try to bring something. So let's say, you know, I drag like, again, so let me show you, this is the cool part, right? I drag this over, boom, now they're all in progress. If I open them up, now they're all in progress. So yeah. That's the power of having, you know, that. And again, party for me could be like green, healthy, you know, and then you can bring them up. Again, perhaps like you might even want to do something like inside here that like separates things out. So what I did was I like putting dividers everywhere. I think that's something you guys have noticed. So like I like doing that, and then maybe even do a double, maybe even do a double here. So now like whenever you open it, this is like your party section. So it's very clear cut, very clean. And then you hide that. Maybe for daily encounters, you only want to see one day, which you can do. So basically what you do here is like for your show thing here, you just change that from 3 to a 1, and you only show one day from now on.
Okay.
So it's really, really simple, really, really cool. You have a Pokemon Center, which is where you heal yourself, right? So let's make this a toggle. So turn it into a toggle list. We're going to make this into pink because that's what it represents. So I have a toggle for my weekly quest, and I have a toggle for my areas. Because this one's an original database, and maybe people want it in their dailies, I don't want to ruin their life if I take it away from them. So I'm just going to make a view instead, right? So I'm going to put a view here, create link database. And the cool thing about this that I'm going to show you is if you ever want to copy over, let's say like a direct view, like because you got to rebuild it, just bring up properties and then so remaining Sunday, Monday, all the way to Saturday. Okay. And now you can see whatever color you put there, everything becomes this color too, just FYI. That's that. Now let's look into areas. So for me, you already have that really simple. You have it in on deck. So on deck, you have this area section. By the way, I renamed it to areas of competence. I think it makes more sense. You can let me know if that resonates with you. So I'm going to move this to trainer again. It's very easy. Right, so I have this now review section on these things, and I can see what I got to review. The map also you can customize, like, so basically all the icons you can customize like really however you'd like. But anyway, let's do this annoying call feature first. Yeah, so I just duplicate it, right? And then now I bring it over and I move to trainer. And then maybe calling it call for help will scare some people, but you know, our inside joke. So yeah, maybe this is like your call for help feature. I don't know. Or like the people in the stands, maybe you can think about it like this is the audience, right? However you want to visualize it in your day-to-day, it's up to you. Then finally, you have your trainer card, which is your stats. Lovely. So if you go to your dashboard, you'll see that I already have one of these things here. So all you have to do is just duplicate this. Yeah, trainer card will be a blue. And then we would have probably, if I move to, again, trainer, you see this is very repetitive, but very easy, yeah? Just because we already have all these views set up that I've created already for you guys.
It's making it feel less of a daunting thing.
Oh, it's really not daunting at all. Yeah, hopefully it's not daunting. Yeah, and then media maybe, and then I'll take off all the things here. We just show like, maybe we don't even show the page, none. Again, it's all up to you as well. Like when you guys actually do it, like, as I'm sure you guys will want your own thing, right? And then your gamification leaderboard can just be yourself, can be more people. It's completely up to you. So this is kind of like your badges, right? And then this is kind of like your stats and your gold. And then let's make the menu and then we'll add some images and then we're done. Easy as that. Here, I was thinking menu to be put right here. And the reason behind that is because when you play Pokemon, your menu is usually right beside your battle.
Yeah, and they use it constantly.
You can call it a list. Actually, for this one, gallery, because it's going to be spread across. I'm going to make this into a smaller property, no image, small. We're going to call this menu, fight, bag,
Okay.
run. Yeah, fight, bag, or run. Okay, great. So now it's time to add icons.
That looks nice.
All right, cool. That's about it. We'll go to now do the game master, which is the gym leader. So let's do a gym leader. Okay, so a gym leader for me is a bit easier. So basically it's just replacing on deck.
So you could just move all of this basically, or copy.
Yeah, so I just duplicated everything and then I'm moving it to gym leader. Cool, so that's about it. I mean, this is pretty simple in my opinion. Now you have your core views, which has either you can use these core, or you can use your immersion landscape from the Pokemon theme.
Uh-huh. Nice.
Take care of you.